Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Meteorologist Josh Arter here in studio this morning, giving you a nice morning weather update. Obviously, we've got more severe weather potential coming up later on today, right? Some thunderstorms developing out west. We'll see if they make their way to northwest Arkansas within the next few moments, but still a lot of uncertainty when it comes to this all hazards threat. Now, you may be wondering what that means when we say all hazards. That just means we have the potential for significant large hail, destructive winds over 75 miles per hour, and maybe even the threat for a strong tornado or two, especially along and south of Interstate 40. So we'll discuss everything in this weather live stream, from the timing all the way to the latest severe weather risk and model data, which, of course, the model data right now is all over the place, as you'll soon see. But we're still going to look at it to give you some of the newest details. But hope everybody's having a great start to their Tuesday so far. We got quite a few viewers in right now. Just want to mention a few comments real quick. What's up, Hydra Shadow? Hope you're having a great start to your morning. Always nice to see you here during the morning weather live streams. Garrett's mentioning the Cape, which seems dampened in northern Arkansas. Impact on the threat. Garrett, we're going to talk about that in just a few moments. Obviously, it doesn't feel like a severe weather day in northwest Arkansas, and that's because the warm front is way off to the south right now. But that could change. There's still a lot of time for things to change here in our atmosphere. And as I mentioned yesterday during the shows, and Dan mentioned as well during the evening hours, what we're going to see today is a lot different than yesterday, where we already had the warm air established, right? So we already had the dew points in place. We already had the instability. We just needed to kind of lift for showers and storms to take off. Thankfully, that didn't really materialize, at least for our area. But today, we kind of have the opposite issue, where we could have too many thunderstorms, and that warm front may not make it into northwest Arkansas, which would prevent surface-based storms from developing. But if you live in the River Valley, you definitely need to stay weather aware, because that warm front is draped right along the I-40 corridor as we speak. All right, I see we've got some more viewers coming in right now. Will we get a shelf cloud? A lot of excitement from Brendan about shelf cloud and Diana. You're exactly right. We've dodged a lot of bullets so far. I was just mentioning that to Dan this morning. We've had storms from north, south, east, west. It seems like everywhere in between. Hopefully today it's not centered right over northwest Arkansas. But let's get right to it. Let's take a look at Heil Heating Cooling Mega Doppler to kick things off this morning. And there's those little storms that are trying to form in northeast Oklahoma, moving towards Delaware County as we speak. These storms way north of the warm front right now, and could help us out quite a bit. Maybe these storms move in, they spread out their anvils, right? We get what's called anvil seeding that prevents the warm front from lifting any farther north, and we don't have to deal with surface-based thunderstorms in northwest Arkansas. That's the hope. But if these storms move in, they could produce some lightning, maybe some frequent heavy rainfall and hail, as well as some damaging wind potential. But the tornado threat is non-existent with any storms that develop north of that warm front. I'm also noticing maybe some additional development right now near the Salsaw area. So the models not doing a great job so far, folks. They didn't even show any activity at all in northwest Arkansas at this time, and now you're already starting to see storms bubble up. Not only that, we've also got some much stronger thunderstorms going on in southern Oklahoma, and if these storms stay on the same path, they're going to be moving into the River Valley within the next couple of hours or so. And these storms right here are very stout. You can see some severe thunderstorm warnings with considerable tags attached to them, maybe weakened just a little bit there east of Wichita Falls. But obviously, we have got a tremendous amount of energy that is moving our way right now. In fact, we can kind of look at that here on satellite and radar. If I zoom out, you're going to be able to see that energy kicking in over the Texas Panhandle, just south of Oklahoma City. You can see that severe thunderstorm watch that's in effect. And my goodness, that is explosive thunderstorm development right there. Very interested to see what it looks like on satellite. And you guys can't see that right now because I need to move that out of the way. There it is right there. There's that cell that I was just talking about that's moving off to the north and east right now. And that could cause some problems. This is south of the boundary. And if that storm continues to take a track towards the boundary, it could tap in to maybe a little bit more low-level wind shear and start to spin just a little bit. So we'll have to watch these cells very closely if they maintain their strength as they push towards northwest Arkansas and especially the River Valley. But check out this water vapor imagery right here, folks. This is insane right here. You're going to see all that energy kicking in right there, right on the nose of this dry air, which is just perfect for thunderstorm development moving right across the Texas Panhandle. Also looks like there's a piece of energy that's swinging off to the north and east here towards Wichita and Kansas City. But this is obviously the piece of energy we'll have to watch very closely. And one thing I have noticed from the models recently is that they have trended earlier with this storm system. Now, that means a couple of things. Number one, it means we get shower and storm potential a little bit earlier. it also means that the atmosphere may not recover in time in Northwest Arkansas. So there's a lot of things that we're watching right now. Hopefully that trend continues, because if the models are correct and we get shower and storm activity early in the day like we're seeing right now, then I have some doubts about what we might see later on this afternoon, if any severe weather potential, at least for Northwest Arkansas. So definitely something we're watching very closely there. Let's take a look at high resolution satellite as well. Let's see how those storms are forming. Man, that is just a beautiful sight right there. This is why I love the weather. Look at that cold cloud top there developing as that explosive thunderstorm development is ongoing. You'll see the sun come up in just a minute here. It's going to show you all those storms that are bubbling up. Takes a little while for this to load. While it's loading, let's see if we got some more comments here. And we're going to go through the severe weather risk in just a minute, but I just want to show you what's going on right now to kind of set the scene. So let's see what we got here. Dew points in the mid 60s to low 70s, definitely south of Northwest Arkansas, Jeremy, not in NWA right now. River Valley, that's a bit of a different story. Those dew points are a little bit higher, but the moisture is not very deep right now. So that might take a little while to come to fruition. Does the warm front stall south? You think possibly, if these storms continue to bubble up in Northwest Arkansas as we speak? It certainly is. That's for sure, Brandon. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that's the case, right? If that happens, then it's going to be a struggle for that warm front to move north. Will there be any downdrafts from Taco Bell? Always downdrafts from Taco Bell, Mr. Turd Ferguson. Always downdrafts from Taco Bell. Let's see here. I feel like I need Josh's morning routine so I can figure out how you have so much energy. Oh, man. Well, I'll be honest with you. This morning, my energy levels are actually on the lower side. That's probably because I was out storm chasing yesterday and I didn't get home till like 9, 10 o'clock and didn't get very much sleep. So that was kind of my own fault right there. But I'm still in it right now. I'm still watching these things very closely. Of course, we'll have the Weather Authority team coming in very soon, and we're going to be covering these storms and keeping these safe just in case they take off. Happy birthday, Jody. Hope you're having a great birthday so far. Just want these to go away because it's my birthday. Well, Jody, hopefully it stays away from Rogers. We'll keep our fingers crossed that's the case, and we'll actually look at the Rogers area for specific timing very soon as well from the Storm Prediction Center. A lot of great graphics for you, but Jody, happy birthday. Hope it's a great one so far. Certainly the morning hours are cooperating quite nicely. Let's see here. Never a dull moment. Yeah, thanks, Murph. Appreciate that. All right. So there's the explosive thunderstorm development. Getting back to the weather here. Look at that right there. You can see the energy kicking in right there in southwestern Texas near the Lubbock area. That's right where that dry punch is located right now. And those storms like to form right on the nose of that dry punch. That is a beautiful sight right there. And looks like there might be even maybe a cumulus field trying to develop in northern Oklahoma, but that is a lot of cloud coverage, folks, that we've got to overcome right here. And the warm front, it doesn't like cloud coverage. If it's got that in place, it's very hard for it to lift to the north. So that's what we're looking at right now. Let's go ahead and take a look at the latest day one convective outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. And it hasn't changed compared to what we had earlier this morning, right? Still level 3 out of 5, enhanced risk for severe weather for most spots. The only locations that are not under an enhanced risk are portions of southwest Missouri, northeast Oklahoma, and the tiniest sliver of northwest Arkansas. So we can actually zoom in here. See that little tiny area in Benton County. So if you live in Maysville, you're in a slight risk. If you live in Gravette, you're in an enhanced risk. And then also you've got, of course, Delaware, Berry, McDonald County there in southwest Missouri and northeast Oklahoma. But obviously, enhanced risk for most locations right now. I'm going to bring this back up here so you can see the graphic in full. So the timing for severe storms. Remember, we've got storms developing right now, but these more than likely are not going to be severe, at least in the short term. The timing for severe storms is between 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Now, one thing I want to mention about the timing here is that if storms are moving through at 11, 12 o'clock, they will have a tendency to be less severe than storms that move through later this afternoon into the early evening hours. But here's the catch, right? If we get storms early in the morning, right, we get around in the afternoon, that morning round of storms is probably going to limit the ceiling of the afternoon round. So if we can hold off a little bit on the morning activity, if that stays to our west, if these severe storms that are developing in southern Oklahoma kind of stay away from the river valley as well, that atmosphere is going to recover very quickly, and that's going to lead to some warmer temperatures in northwest Arkansas and a little bit more moisture as well. So That's what we're working with right now across our weather coverage area. That's really the big uncertainty right now. Another uncertainty, of course, and it kind of relates to this, is that we could see a bunch of storms develop at one time, widespread shower and storm potential. And if that happens, then obviously that's not the most favorable environment for your tornadoes or your large hail. Damaging winds can certainly be a concern, but tornadoes and hail become less of a concern. So those are the two things I'm watching very closely. Another thing I'm going to be watching, if we do have quite a bit of shower and storm potential, how do these storms interact with each other? If they interact with each other in a favorable fashion, then that can sometimes lead to a greater tornado threat. So there's a few things that we got to watch and literally look out the window for, which is why I went so in depth with the satellite and radar and showed you what was going on right now, because that's going to play a big role in our weather later on today. So here's a look at each specific threat. So the tornado threat is there. It's low still, but if a tornado were to form, it could potentially be strong, especially as you get farther south and east in our area. That's going to be a theme here. Notice how the tornado risk sharply ramps up once you get out of northwest Benton County into portions of the River Valley and the higher terrain areas of NWA. We go on here and look at the large hail potential. You can see it could be up to 2 inches in diameter. Again, this correlates with the storm mode, right? If we've got more isolated supercells that are moving through northwest Arkansas, there will be a tendency for larger hail up to 2 inches in diameter. If we're talking about clusters of storms, right, that doesn't typically produce very large hail, at least in our weather coverage area. Then I'm going to move myself out of the way here. There's the damaging wind potential, and this one actually you can see how it ramps up with southeasterly extent on the lower side in far northwestern Arkansas, kind of a medium risk there towards Washington County into portions of the River Valley. And then once you get south of the I-40 corridor and into portions of southern Boone and Newton County, as well as Johnson, Logan, and Scott County, that's when you're dealing with more of a significant damaging wind threat, where we could see wind gusts up to 75 miles per hour or greater. That's a hashed outline right there. So significant hazards are on the table, folks, with every single specific threat, right? Strong tornadoes, very large hail, destructive winds. It's all on the table with the storm system. But again, it's all going to be determined by where exactly that warm front sets up. So a lot of things that we're watching very closely on that front. Let's take a look at the latest high-resolution rapid refresh model, which has been all over the place. Now, I will say this. It is starting to show that activity that's going on in northeast Oklahoma right now. It's a little bit behind, I would say, because here's a look at what the HRRR is showing. This is a look at Megadoppler, right? Obviously, those storms are already developing there in northeast Oklahoma. In fact, we're starting to see some lightning off of those storms there just off to the west of Salem Springs. So we'll look at some WeatherBug Network cameras in just a minute. And I get it, Kristen. I get you're confused because it's cloudy and chilly, but that can change very quickly depending on where that warm front sets up. This is not like yesterday. So if you just joined, I got to stress this, right? It's not like yesterday where we already had the warm air in place, right? We already had the instability. This is one of those systems where we have to watch the position of the warm front, because if it surges to the north, you're going to see the atmosphere go from really cool to very warm, very muggy. You'll feel it in the air. It'll feel like a severe weather day once again. It doesn't feel like that right now because that cold front is well off to the south and east. So that's what we're looking at right now. It's not like yesterday. It's a completely different setup in terms of our ingredients right now. So let's move along in time here. There's those cells that are going on in northeast Oklahoma into northwest Arkansas. Again, this model's a little bit behind, so got to take that into account, right, when it comes to our instability or fuel that's required for showers and storms. Now, this model is showing that temperatures are warming up very quickly in Poto and Waldron. That tells me that the model likely has the warm front draped in the floor in Scott County by this point. So by 12 p.m., at least according to the HRRR, you see those warmer temperatures. That's where the warm front is being forecasted or modeled. Now, notice as we go throughout the early afternoon hours, these storms continue to lift off to the north and east. At 1 p.m., this storm that is ongoing in northeast Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas, if it indeed comes to fruition, is going to be elevated, meaning that the bases are very high off the ground. That typically doesn't favor tornado potential. Large hail damage and winds on the table, right? We'll have to watch that for northwest Arkansas if this model is correct. But these storms are well north of the warm front, so they don't have a whole lot of tornado potential with them. And according to this model, it's starting to move out right around 3 o'clock. Now, do we see additional development during the afternoon hours? Well, look at Poto, Waldron, Fort Smith, Boonville, and Ozark. Even into northwest Arkansas now. This model is showing rapid destabilization. This is what I was just talking about, right? So if I go back just a little bit here, notice how temperatures are sitting in the lower 70s at 12 p.m. By 3 p.m., it's in the lower 80s in portions of northwest Arkansas, with middle to upper 80s along and south of Interstate 40. That's exactly what I'm talking about, folks. This is the type of setup that we're dealing with. So that's why we cannot let our guard down, because if these storms that are going on right now in northeast Oklahoma starting to push towards northwest Arkansas, if those move out quicker, we don't see those the anvils impact the cloud coverage. That will allow the warm front to lift to the north. And these storms right here that are developing at 4 p.m. are rotating a little bit. But what I'm noticing with this model right now is that these storms quickly become clustered. So what does that mean? Well, it means your storm mode, right? These storms have a tendency to kind of choke each other off and produce more of a damaging wind threat rather than your intense tornado potential, right? So if these are not discrete, isolated supercells, then we'll have to watch for embedded areas of rotation, but that could also limit the tornado potential maybe just a little bit. Now, by this point at 5 p.m., according to this model, the winds are shifting to the north and west in Fayetteville, so the front is moving through. So as the front moves through, that's going to push the storms off to the east, and that's going to move them out of our weather coverage area. So basically, the best way to describe it is this. The storms this morning are our friend, right? We want these storms because they could limit the more significant threat in the afternoon. The storms in the afternoon could be a little bit nastier, right? They'll have a tendency to be more surface-based. Those are the ones that we've got to watch very closely right there for your tornado potential, especially along and south of Interstate 40, which, as this model is showing, is a little bit warmer. I mean, it's showing 88 degrees in Poto. That is a juiced-up atmosphere right there. But is that actually going to happen? Remember, it's just a model. It's not perfect. We know that. That's for sure. It's not even close to perfect, and don't expect it to be, but they have been pretty rough as of late. Let's see what the Graph 3 kilometer has going on. And then what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you specific SPC timing graphics to kind of give you a general idea on some general locations, right? I'm not going to be able to get to every specific area, but it gives you a general idea of what's going on in northwest Arkansas and the River Valley in terms of our timing of each specific severe weather hazard. So let's look at the graph model real quick. This is the Graph 3 kilometer model. And let's go ahead and load that. It's not doing a good job right now, I'll tell you that. So this is what it shows is happening right now. And this is what's actually going on. Trash. Absolute garbage. So I don't even know if I want to show this model now, but let's go ahead and just see what's going on with it, because we want to take every piece of data into account. So it's showing a cluster of storms moving through right around 12 p.m. Now, is that the storms that are moving through southern Oklahoma right now? Probably. I also think that's a little bit too far north compared to where they currently are, because right now, most of those storms are located in southern Oklahoma towards the Ardmore and Sulphur areas, moving towards Ada and McAllister. That would line up more with the River Valley rather than northwest Arkansas. And let me show you what I'm looking at here. So these are the storms that are ongoing right now in southern Oklahoma. And if these continue to track northeast, that's going to favor more of the River Valley. Now, there are some additional thunderstorms developing south of Norman right now, and that may make its way into NWA. So these are just things that we're watching right now. Let's go back here to what the graph is showing. So maybe that's what it's showing here, is that these storms are moving through within the next 3 hours or so. But again, these would be more elevated rather than surface-based. Now, it is showing some additional development there right along I-40, right around 4 or 5 o'clock. And then those storms move out throughout the evening hours. Again, I don't know if I necessarily buy this model because it can't even get what's going on right now correct, but it just gives you a general idea of what's going on. Let's look at one more model run here. Let's look at the NAM 3 kilometer just to see what it's got going on as well. Not my favorite model. Not doing the greatest with the position of the storms right now, but it also doesn't release as frequently as the other models, so we'll give it a little bit of slack. There's the first cluster of storms moving through northwest Arkansas. And you know what? There are storms right now. Now, it is a little bit late, I think, with the storms because they're actively pushing towards NWA as we speak. And it's going to be getting loud in Salem Springs and in Bentonville. So just get ready if you live in those areas. And maybe even Lowell and Rogers as well. Just get ready. These storms are racing off to the north and east. But again, these are not going to be anything that cause significant hazards, right? So these are more hails, smaller hail and gusty winds. Let's go back here to weather one. Here's the look at the NAM. There's that first cluster of storms moving out. Man, it does not show any atmospheric recovery in northwest Arkansas. And honestly, It may have the best idea of what's going on right now, truth be told. It's not the best when it comes to showing, you know, the convection as it breaks out, but it's giving you that scenario where the warm front doesn't make it into NWA. I mean, look at this. It's showing at 6 p.m. A temperature of 60 degrees in Fayetteville, upper 50s in northeast Oklahoma. Now in the River Valley, it's much warmer. So those storms are obviously packing more of a punch. But again, this is a scenario that is certainly plausible, in my opinion, based on what's going on right now. And hopefully that's the case. Hopefully nobody sees severe weather. But if you live in the River Valley, I would definitely be weather aware, because pretty much every model and every piece of information I can look at does show that warm front maybe lifting a little bit farther north, which could cause some problems. So let's look at some WeatherBug Network cameras real quick. Let's reset, and let's look at what's going on right now. So here's our Siloam Springs camera. It's starting to get a little bit cloudy, a little bit gloomy there. It's been kind of cloudy and gloomy all morning long, hasn't it? Hasn't felt like a severe weather day in northwest Arkansas quite yet. And that's great. Let's see here. Let's look at some comments. Any watches out right now, Josh, or is that too early? It's too early for our area, Hydra. There are some watches off to our south and west in Oklahoma and Texas. But here in NWA, no watches that are currently in effect. So these storms moving in right now are our homies. Oh, yeah, they're our homies. That's a perfect way to describe it, actually. I should go out there and dap them up just a little bit. Just give them a nice little high five, because these will help us out. This will keep our atmosphere stable. Let's see here. Do we need to worry about our kids at school? Diana, I wouldn't worry about that. First of all, at school, they should be quite safe. I mean, pretty much every school, right, has that contingency plan in place just in case severe weather strikes. Now, we'll say, as we get towards 3, 4 o'clock, especially if you live in the River Valley, right, we do need to keep an eye on those cells. Those cells could cause some problems, right? At the same time, nothing is set in stone right now, but I would stay weather aware right around the time when you would probably pick up the kiddos, right? Right around the time that you're heading back home from school or heading back home from work. That's when those storms could be a little bit nastier. So that's a good question right there. At school, they should be fine, especially with these storms that are moving through right now. These are not a big deal. Later on this afternoon, we'll stay weather aware and we'll keep an eye on it. Let's see here. There is thunder in Siloam. So, yep, I believe that, Abby. And you're about to get some heavy rain potentially. Yeah, you're going to get some heavy rain in just a few moments. Let's see here. Is northwest Arkansas in the clear with these storms moving in earlier? So, not necessarily, Juliana, but it definitely will help us out. That's for sure in NWA. If I go back to Mega Doppler here, there's a look at those storms racing off to the north and east right now. It will certainly help us out. But there could be, clearing. There could be maybe some rapid clearing of the clouds, but I don't know. It's going to be tough for that to happen when you've got storms this early in the morning. And if you look out the window like we did at the very beginning of this live stream, and you look at what's going on right now, I'm telling you, that's not favorable for that warm front to make it any farther north. All right, so special weather statement just now issued for that storm in Delaware County, as well as in Benton County. So we do have a strong storm that's starting to move through the area right now. Let's zoom in on that. So I'm going to pause it. Now, again, if you're just tuning in, you're wondering what's going on in Colcord, if you're wondering what's going on in Gentry, Siloam Springs, Watts area, right? These are elevated thunderstorms that are not expected to cause any impacts when it comes to tornadic potential. Now, there is the potential for some hail. We can look at that right there. It looks like there's some hailstones starting to pop up there just off to the northwest of Kansas. According to the radar estimate, it's quarter size, but it's probably smaller than that right now in Colcord and just southwest of Colcord. But there is a hail core with that storm. There's also another hail core that's moving into Adair County right now, just off to the south and west of Chewy. That's moving north and east. So if you live towards Watts or Siloam Springs, just get ready. There could be some thunderstorms moving in there. If we go to storm relative velocity, look at this. Nothing. There's no rotation whatsoever. So there's nothing to worry about when it comes to rotating thunderstorms at this time. These are going to be elevated storms that produce hail at most. Now, I want to get some cameras going here too so we can take a look at what's going on. Unfortunately, our Lincoln camera, and Dan probably mentioned this yesterday, has kicked the bucket completely. So we don't have access to what's, in my opinion, the best camera. Let's see here. I was about to go for a run. Well, maybe it's a trade-off, Juliana, right? No run right now, but maybe later this afternoon that helps you out for your run, right? Maybe we don't have the storms are not as significant, and maybe you've got a better run going on later on today. Could be a nice trade-off right there. Let's see here. It's cold and overcast in Rogers. So, yeah, it certainly is. It certainly is, and that's why these storms that are moving north and east are not going to cause major impacts right now. Another special weather statement for Adair County, Delaware County, and portions of Benton County. So these storms are taking off just a little bit, right? But they're not causing any significant problems, significant impacts. Looks like somebody's on the computer right now, adjusting the camera view for me. It's a little bit harder when I'm soloing because I'm trying to go back and forth, and that's what I wanted to do. So let's go back to the Siloam Springs camera here, and let's take a look at what's going on. So got somebody behind the scenes that's adjusting the camera, and this camera right here just went all over the place. But I'm going to move myself out of the way so you can see that cell off in the distance. So there it is. Starting to produce some rain there in Siloam Springs, but that base right there is just nothing crazy, nothing special. This is just a normal, strong storm lifting off to the north and east. Could produce some hail. Dan Scoff behind the scenes working right now. So Dan the man is up. He's the one that's controlling the cameras. Thanks, Dan, for doing that. It's a little bit harder when you're doing it solo, as you know, in order to like go back and forth between Mega Doppler and moving the cameras and moving Max 1 and everything. But there's that cell that's ongoing in Siloam Springs. Dan, if you're still on that, let's see if we can get that Bentonville Square camera moving to the west as well. Maybe we can see what's going on there, and see how that cell's evolving. Let's see. How about trying to think here? What would be another good camera? Let's see what Decatur looks like. There's Decatur, so definitely very cloudy right now in Decatur, but just doesn't feel like a severe weather day, does it, folks? Does not feel like it, at least right now in Northwest Arkansas. There's our Rogers Pinnacle Parkway Towers cam. So we'll probably get a view of the storm in Rogers too very soon. In fact, that's going to be an excellent view of what's going on. So Dan's behind the scene adjusting that Bentonville Square camera. So we're about to get a look at that. He's just tilted off to the west, so you can see some gray skies off in the distance there. We'll say those clouds are moving pretty fast. There is a lot of energy in place. There's no doubt about it, which is why I think personally, we have maybe too much energy today. And if we've got too much energy, right, that leads to more storms on radar. That means your updrafts kind of get choked off by cold pools. And that can lead to less tornado potential or less significant severe weather potential as well. Forget just tornadoes. Damaging winds, typically weaker. Large hail, typically smaller, right? So hopefully that's the case for our area. But you need to keep an eye on those storms that are moving into southern Oklahoma as well. I'm going to show you Mega Doppler one more time here. Now, I'm not going to change the radar. I'm not going to go any farther south right now just because of the storms that are ongoing here in NWA. But look at this. Got more severe thunderstorm warnings that are starting to be issued right now in southeastern Oklahoma near Ada. And that's moving northeast, so that's moving towards Fort Smith and the I-40 corridor right now. So we got to keep a close eye on those. But these storms, these are just going to produce hail, maybe some gusty winds, and then they'll be out of our area. And maybe they stick around for even longer. But we got a lot of development going on right now in Northwest Arkansas for sure. All right, let's go back here. I'm going to take a look at our Rogers camera just real quick here. So I just want to see what's going on with this camera because it's a really nice camera. So stand by for 1 second. I'm going to adjust this real quick. I'm going to face this off to the west. It's a little bit tougher to see things off to the west with the Rogers camera because there's a pole in the way. But there it is off in the distance there. You can see that storm moving in. Doesn't look very impressive. But going to bring some rain and going to bring some hail potential. Let's see here. Can you show us the current temperatures? Okay, I can do that, Joy. So stand by on that front. Let's look at what's currently going on with our temps. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a timing graphic from the Storm Prediction Center. Dan posted that this morning, but in case you haven't seen it, we're going to go through it. But let's take a look at the current temperatures in Northwest Arkansas. So this is why the severe weather risk is not as high right now in NWA with these storms. 61 in Rogers, 62 in Bentonville and XNA, 62 in Silent Springs, a little bit warmer in and around Fayetteville, right? 66 degrees, but it just shows you that the atmosphere is not as primed in Northwest Arkansas right now. The River Valley, it's a little bit of a different story. We've got temperatures sitting in the lower 70s, but that deeper moisture is south of that warm front, which is more than likely draped in southern LaFleur and Scott County right now. So definitely struggling to lift north. And I think it's going to continue to struggle as long as these storms and these clouds hang around in NWA. As long as these clouds are moving through Northwest Arkansas, this warm front is going to struggle to lift to the north. In fact, it really slows it down quite a bit and makes it stall out. So that could increase the concern just a little bit in the River Valley if that warm front does indeed stall out along and south of Interstate 40. Here's a look at the dew point situation. Notice that the dew points are much higher in the River Valley right now. Those yellow shaded colors, that's where dew points are in the upper 60s to lower 70s. So that's currently in place over LaFleur and Scott County. It's trying to lift to the north towards the I-40 corridor, 66 in Stigler, 65 in Fort Smith. But check out Northwest Arkansas. Those dew points are in the upper 50s. And Jesse, I agree. Honestly, I think lower to middle 60s, it feels amazing right now. Yesterday, though, it was just yucky, muggy. We call it air that you can wear. And I was sweating up a storm up in Missouri, seeing just absolutely nothing. Though I did get hit by some pretty strong winds near Dixon, Missouri, if any of you folks are familiar with that area. That's in central Missouri, just off to the south of Jefferson City. There were some damaging winds, about 60 to 65 miles per hour. So that caused some damage there. But thankfully, that tornado outbreak really didn't come to fruition, except for in the Mountain View area where there was a pretty strong tornado last night, just off to the east of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. But that kind of has been the theme, right? Over the last several systems, we've been dodging these bullets. They've been north, south, east, west, everywhere in between. But here in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley, we've mostly avoided significant severe weather. Now, on Saturday, obviously, we had those storms that were rotating in LaFleur County and in Scott County, but they just weren't able to take off and reach their full potential. Hopefully today, these storms that are moving through right now allow that potential to not be realized in Northwest Arkansas and maybe even portions of the River Valley as well. That's what we're hoping for. Yeah, I know, Jesse. I'd still have time to drive south to the River Valley. And, the storms that you'll want to see, right, visually, that could happen in the River Valley later on this afternoon. But I have some questions. Okay, Decatur camera shows the storm a little bit better. Thank you, Dan, for adjusting that camera view there. So here's the Decatur City Hall WeatherBug Network camera. There's that storm off in the distance again. Look at that elevated base. That's nothing right there. That is nothing. Let's see here. Thanks for keeping us updated. I can't wait for a break from the severe weather. Sarah, you and me both. And all of us here in the weather lab. Leslie, Davion, and Dan. All right. Severe thunderstorm warning. Looks like it just now got issued for Delaware County and in Benton County. So let's take a look at that storm. We're going to go back to Mega Doppler here. You're going to see that populate in just a moment. So we'll cover this storm while it's moving through Northwest Arkansas. I'm sure it's going to be for quarter-sized hail. We were looking at the hail just a few moments ago, right? And it was showing radar estimates of quarter-sized hail near the Colquitt area. And I think it's going to be this storm right here that's going to be severe thunderstorm warned in just a minute. You'll see that populate in just a few seconds here. But look at that storm taking off. So if you live in Benton County right now towards Gentry, Decatur, a little bit farther east towards XNA, if the storm starts to move a little bit more to the east, might get some hail in just a few moments. Now, Siloam Springs, I think, is going to be just south of this storm. However, there's another one that's lifting north and east that could go severe warm very quickly as well, and that could impact portions of Siloam Springs. But there's a look at the storm. Let's see what this severe thunderstorm warning is for. So $half sized hail, so a little bit bigger than quarter sized. If we go back here and look at the estimated hail size, 1.36 inches. So that would be around $half sized hail. So that's that severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect. And I think there's another one that's going to be issued on this storm as well. And that hail might be even bigger, 1.5-inch hailstones, according to the radar estimates. So looks like we're about to have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings again. No rotation whatsoever with this storm. See, elevated storm, right? Nothing crazy, nothing major, not going to produce any tornado potential, but it could produce some hail. All right, here's that second severe thunderstorm warning. This is for quarter-sized hail. So a little bit smaller, at least according to the warning. And this storm is moving off to the east at 40 miles per hour. So Salem Springs, if this storm keeps tracking east, like this warning says, you might avoid both hail cores, which is kind of crazy. Might be in between. Dan says, do you have the alert template set on your hit? I am not in the right show right now, Dan. So let me pull that back up here and go to the right one. I don't have it pulled up right now, unfortunately, but I can get it pulled up now. There we go. So now if we get future warnings, it should show up on my hit windshield. But let's go back here to Mega Doppler. Let's do some storm tracks here. So let's pull up live Doppler radar and track each storms. It looks like both are moving off to the east at about 40 miles per hour. So we're going to go to the Tulsa radar here. Stand by. We're going to make sure this is angled the proper way. All right. So let's go back to Max 1 here. So we're going to move away from Mega Doppler for just a minute. We're going to go through both severe thunderstorm warnings. So if you're in Colcord, you're probably getting hail right now. You're probably getting $half sized hail. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 10:30 a.m. for eastern Delaware and western Benton County. That storm is racing off to the east right now at about 40 miles per hour. And then we've got another severe thunderstorm warning to the south. That's for Adair, Benton, and northern Washington County. That's for quarter-sized hail, and that also goes until 10:30 a.m. And that's also moving at 40 miles per hour. So let's go ahead and do a storm track on both of these. So let's remove the warning. And let's go here, and we will put this into motion here. So the hail core right now, again, is near Colcord. So we've moved this off to the east at 40 miles per hour. You can see that's going to be moving towards the Bentonville area pretty soon. So right now, if you live in Bloomfield, 10:11 a.m., expecting that storm to move through there. Gentry at 10:15 a.m., Decatur at 10:18 a.m., XNA at around 10:26 a.m. Let's see, we've got Centerton at 10:33, Cave Springs at 10:36, and Bentonville at 10:39. So that storm right now is producing $half sized hail, and it's moving right over Colcord as we speak. All right, now let's go to this other cell that's a little bit farther to the south. That one is just near the Salem Springs area. This is also moving off to the east at about 40 miles per hour. So we'll move this over the next hour or so. So Southside Elementary School, you're about to get some hail within the next 10 minutes or so. We've got Pedro at 10:15 a.m., Savoy at 10:21 a.m., Tontitown at 10:29, Johnson at 10:35, Springdale at 10:37 a.m., Goshen at 10:49, and Mayfield at 10:53. So that's the next hour for that other cell that's just to the south. So that's our latest storm track right now. I do not expect this storm right here to move over Fayetteville. However, there are some additional thunderstorms that are forming right now, and maybe these will start turning east as well and move towards Fayetteville. But Fayetteville, portions of Fayetteville at least, are included in a severe thunderstorm warning. And if you have weather call NextGen, you're probably getting an alert, right? If you live, let's say, I don't know, let's zoom in here. If you live near North Olive Avenue, you are getting an alert from weather call NextGen. If you live in North Fletcher Avenue, near East Dixon Street, you are not getting an alert right now on weather call NextGen. And that's what makes it so special, folks. And that's why I highly recommend you check it out. I'm going to pull up the information to that. Again, we always talk about weather call NextGen when we're dealing with severe weather here in Northwest Arkansas in the River Valley. It's a great service. It's a subscription service for as little as $1 a month, $12 a year. You get hyper-local alerts only if you're within the Polygon. We're talking call, text, and emails. Now, these alerts will come out for tornado warnings or extreme thunderstorm warnings that are producing golf ball-sized hail or hurricane force winds. So you're not getting an alert with this storm, obviously, because it's below that destructive tag. But if that storm was destructive, it was producing softball-sized hail or damaging winds over 80 miles per hour, then you would be getting an alert right now in those areas. It also gives you calls to landline phones. I know we got a lot of folks that live in in rural areas, you can sign up for this service with your landline as well, and it can give you some calls if we're dealing with extreme severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings. So that's Weather Call Next Gen, and it's an absolutely fantastic service. I see somebody in the chat right now. These things kind of look like they're starting to spin. Bryce, not at all. Not at all. They're not even close to spinning. Let me show you why. I'm going to go back to Mega Doppler real quick because I can see some people are panicking maybe a little bit in the chat. There's no need to panic for tornado potential because it's non-existent. The storm is way ahead of the warm front. But for large hail, that's a bit of a different story. What's up, man? What's up? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Our news director, Josh Harbison, checking out what's going on here right now. So, yeah, no rotation whatsoever. There is nothing to worry about, folks. And I see some folks already mentioning that in the chat. No tornadoes, not expected within the next couple of hours with these storms, folks. These are way to the north of the warm front. Even if they interact with each other, they're not going to produce tornadoes because there's just not enough surface-based instability. It's pretty much non-existent. So, Eric, there is a hail threat, though. We were just talking about that. If you just tuned in, we do have severe hail that's going on right now, moving right over Colcord. And that's going to be moving off to the east towards Gentry, maybe even Decatur as well. We've got Cherokee City, West Point, Bloomfield, definitely in the path. Looks like this hail core right now is moving east-northeast. So I'd say Cherokee City, maybe keep an eye on this. That could be moving towards your area. We zoom in here on this hail core. Looks like it's moving over a pretty rural area of northern Adair County. So I'm not seeing any unincorporated communities there. Watts, you might be getting some smaller hail, but the main hail core is just to your south. If you live on the south side of Siloam Springs, keep an eye on that. There's some quarter-sized hail being reported with this storm. But looks like Siloam Springs might be in between both of the main hail cores, which is good news if you live in Siloam Springs, I guess. Yeah, I see some right there, Siloam Springs for Rena, and I just talked about that there. Will the hail in the North Storm get larger? We might call our insurance companies. Well, it's certainly possible, Kerry, but I still think it's going to be a struggle to see super large hail with these initial thunderstorms because we just don't have any. We don't really have any instability in Northwest Arkansas. It's just a struggle right now. So, yeah, I don't think it's going to get much larger than $half size, at least at this time. Do you think the SPC outlook will be updated later if these storms help reduce tornado potential? I mean, it should be, Juliana. I mean, you would think, but sometimes that's not the case. I'll say that. Even if it appears that the environment is winding down, a lot of times the risk kind of stays the same sometimes. So we'll see. But look at how these storms are just exploding in coverage right there. Look at that explosive thunderstorm development. We definitely have the upper level support in place. That's for sure. But has the upper level support arrived early enough to see a lot of cloud coverage and storm potential? That could save us. That could be our saving grace here in Northwest Arkansas, maybe even in the River Valley as well if these storms continue to race off to the northeast. And yes, we might experience hail. We might experience damaging winds, all of those things. But in terms of significant high-end severe weather potential, that could be tempered just a little bit. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and we'll keep praying that's the case. But I have some questions right now about the extent of the severe weather risk here in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. All right. Check out the storm from Springdale. Okay, let's look at that real quick before we look at the specific SPC timing, because I've got those graphics pulled up, Dan. You know what I'm talking about. So there's our Arkansas Children's Northwest WeatherBug Network camera, and Dan's got this camera recording. Look at that off in the distance. There's the base of the storm right there. It looks low. I get it. The presentation of the storm looks low, but remember, we also have quite a bit of low-level cloud coverage already in place. The storm itself is elevated, meaning that it's just producing hail and damaging winds. Not even damaging winds right now. It's just hail, actually. But we're looking at that camera right now, as Dan mentioned, and maybe you can see the hail shaft off in the distance. It's hard to tell, but the hail shaft is typically going to be more of that kind of whitish hue, and that's where your hail is occurring. But looks like right now that storm is going to be moving towards the Springdale area very soon. So that's a good idea to record this camera, Dan, because I think the cell is going to move right on top of the camera within the next 30 to 45 minutes or so. Interesting. That came out of nowhere. So, Jeff, I would say, yeah, the models definitely didn't do a good job with these cells that are going on right now, but I'm not really surprised we're seeing storms. And that's because we've got a lot of upper level support in place. We've got a lot of lift. And so, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of storm development today, and that will help us out. All right, we'll get back to this camera in just a minute. I still want to take a look at some of these graphics here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move myself out of the way. We're going to start sharing the screen here, and let's take a look at some specific risk that are going on for later on today. So this is, a lot of folks have questions about timing, right? And we want to make sure we've got that answered for you. So we're going to share the screen here. I'm going to move this full screen. Stand by. There we go. I think I can get that a little bit bigger. I think that's about as big as you can get, actually. But I'll make this full screen as well so you can see the whole thing a little bit better. But there it is. So this is the SPC timing. So this is showing each specific hazard and the timing of each risk, right, as we go throughout the day. So this is for Fayetteville, Arkansas, and surrounding areas. So if you live in and around Fayetteville, this is our expected severe weather outlook as we go throughout the rest of your Tuesday. So right now, the tornado potential is non-existent. As I just mentioned, these storms that are moving through right now in northwest Arkansas have non-existent tornado potential. Now, it does have that hail risk, as we mentioned earlier. That hail risk rapidly increases as we go throughout the rest of the morning hours, right? As does the damaging wind risk. But the tornado potential is non-existent. So right now, we're kind of in that marginal risk for hail, or marginal to slight, since we're almost to 11 o'clock. But you kind of get the idea. That slight risk starts developing right around 10:30, 11 o'clock this morning, and then continues to about 1 p.m. After 1 p.m., we start reaching enhanced criteria for large hail and damaging winds. Now, the tornado threat is still on the lower side, but notice how it peaks this afternoon between about 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now, there's a lot of things that go into this tornado risk, but the one thing that you need to know, the most important thing, is that if these storms stick around a lot longer, these lower end storms that don't produce as much tornado potential, that will limit this tornado risk quite a bit as we move throughout the afternoon and evening hours. So once we get to sunset, we're pretty much dropping off completely with that severe weather potential. I think even before 10:30, 11 o'clock, we've got basically no more severe weather expected in northwest Arkansas. So really, the main time frame for significant severe, if we have the environment in place for it, is going to be between about 12:30 p.m. all the way to 7:30 p.m., if not earlier. So that's what we're looking at for Fayetteville. Now let's look at Fort Smith. Let me make sure we still got that up and running, because sometimes this can move out of the way here. So here's Fort Smith. So I know folks are asking about Fort Smith in the chat. Ask and you shall receive. Now, Fort Smith's risk is actually a little bit higher with the tornado threat. Now, this morning, you've already got the slight risk for severe weather, which makes sense because those storms that are going on in southern Oklahoma right now are a lot stronger, in my opinion. And that means that we could have an initial higher end threat for larger hail and damaging winds. So that's why it's a little bit higher there in the river valley. That's why we already have that slight risk in place. Now, right around 12:30, very similar to northwest Arkansas, that enhanced risk starts. This is still hail and wind driven. And this enhanced risk goes all the way to 8:30. So according to the SPC, this goes on a little bit longer compared to northwest Arkansas. But also notice that tornado potential between 3 to 7 p.m. is a little bit higher compared to NWA as well. We'll see if that actually comes to fruition, but it is something to watch if you live along and south of Interstate 40, right? There could be a little bit more instability, a little bit more of those backed winds along the warm front versus veered winds that are north of it, that's such as in northwest Arkansas. So backed winds typically favor better tornado potential, and that's what we could see along the I-40 corridor. So that's Fort Smith. Poto, Oklahoma, LaFleur County, right? Already got the slight risk in place, 12:30 to around 8:30. It's pretty similar to Fort Smith, but I would say Potos might be a little bit higher. Look at that. It's actually a little bit higher with that hail and damaging wind threat, which makes sense because it's got even more instability to work with, it looks like, in LaFleur County. So, again, folks, the major significant severe weather is going to be during the afternoon hours today, if we see it, right? The tornado potential does not start increasing until the afternoon hours. But that's contingent on the atmosphere recovering and us getting that surface-based instability and allowing that warm front to lift farther to the north. It's all contingent on what's going on this morning. So that's Poto, Oklahoma. Let's look at Greenwood as well. I've got multiple areas pulled up here. Again, if you live around these areas, this applies to you. It's pretty similar, though, as you can see, right? From the River Valley is very similar to each other. The Northwest Arkansas risk is very similar to each other, no matter where you are. But there it is. There's that hail and damaging wind threat ramping up between 3 to 7 p.m. That's when we have that maximum tornado potential, and then that drops off as we go throughout the rest of the evening. One more. This is Grove, Oklahoma. So up a little bit farther to the north and east. And notice how it's a lot less. In fact, only a slight risk for severe weather in Grove. That doesn't ramp up until around 11:30, 12 o'clock, continues to about 7:30. But notice how the hail and even tornado threat is a lot lower in Grove, which makes sense because it could be displaced from the better parameter space. So, wonderful resource right here, folks. I mean, look at all this stuff right here. This is just fantastic. It's got specific towns. It doesn't have every town, right? Obviously, because it's hard to do that. But it gives you a general idea of what's going on around the area, and I love it. There's Rogers. Here, let's look at Rogers. I know some folks may be wondering about what's going on there. There it is. The hail threat already in place. Tornado threat non-existent until about 12 o'clock. If that warm front can lift to the north between about 3 to 7, that's when that tornado potential could be a little bit elevated. But obviously, large hail and damaging winds are the main concern. So hopefully that was a good explanation of what's going on. I know some folks always wonder about that. Hail core is getting bigger for south of Siloam Springs. So thanks so much, Dan, for that report. And yep, that lines up exactly with what we're seeing on radar right now. Let's go back to Heil Heating Cooling Mega Doppler. Something's going on in the chat right now because it looks like there's like an argument or something. I don't know. I hope everybody's not arguing about what I'm doing. I want to always provide the best information I can. So hopefully that's not the case. But let's go ahead and pull this up so you guys can see what's going on here. So there you go. So the hail, as Dan mentioned, is getting a little bit bigger. 1.62 inches is the radar estimate just south of Siloam Springs. So close to Siloam Springs, but going to miss downtown by a little bit. But if you live in the south side of Siloam Springs, now that's a bit of a different story, right along Highway 412 here. Matter of fact, that hail core, I wish I kind of was in it right now so I could see what's going on. But let's see here. I think this severe thunderstorm warning still has quarter-sized hail according to the warning, but obviously that hail is getting a little bit bigger, as Dan just mentioned. Let's go here to reflectivity. There's that storm. Man, we got a lot of storms developing, folks. So Fayetteville, you're about to get some storm activity right along I-49. I would not be surprised if this went severe warned very soon, just off to the east of Moody's, moving towards the Westville area and towards Summers, Lincoln, and Prairie Grove. So keep an eye on this if you live in any of those towns I just mentioned, Farmington, Fayetteville. All those areas need to keep an eye on this storm as it races off to the east at 40 miles per hour. But again, you're not keeping an eye on it because of tornado potential. You're keeping an eye on it because of large hail and damaging winds. So we'll keep a close eye on it here. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, I see. Oh, there's somebody's commenting on the cell. I see what's going on. Well, I appreciate you guys. Let me know. I just want to make sure everybody's getting their information that they need. Could you track that storm that's west of Fayetteville? Absolutely. Okay, let's do that. So that storm is moving east at 40 miles per hour as well. So let's go here to live dot the radar. I'm doing some stuff behind the scenes here. Let's pull up Max 1 and let's go zoom in here. I don't like this angle that this has got. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Okay. Let's just save that show element so I have it. All right. So we're looking at this storm, which is not severe warned right now south of Fayetteville, but it will impact Fayetteville very soon. So I see you, Terrified Better. I see you. Hello, Carroll County. Hello. I hear you. Nothing going on in Carroll County right now. We're keeping an eye on it. Most of these storms are west of you, but we'll talk about Carroll County in just a minute, I promise. All right. Let's look at this storm here that's moving through Adair County. This is going to be tracking towards Fayetteville. So we've got a couple of hail cores. I'm going to just take the center of this storm and move it off to the east. We'll move it a little bit east-northeast here. So as you can see, this storm is going to be moving. It was moving right over Chance as we speak. So if you live in the Chance area, you're already getting hit by maybe some small hail and some gusty winds. It's a loud storm for sure. It's got quite a bit of lightning with it. Prairie Grove, keep an eye on this storm, 1045, though I think the storm might miss Prairie Grove just to the north, at least the hail core. Farmington at 1054, Fayetteville at 1101, Bethel Heights at 1107, Elkins at 1114, Wesley at 1121, Hinesville at 1127, Japton at 1131, and Huntsville at 1136 a.m. So that's what we're looking at with the track of that cell, which again is not severe warned right now, but it could be soon. So we'll have to watch that very closely as it tracks off to the east. So I'm going to move that out of the way there. There's a look at all the cells. A lot of lightning with these storms, folks. Tremendous amount of lightning. You can see all that popping up there on the screen there. Again, that's all moving off to the east at about 40 miles per hour. See if there's any storm spotters out there. Michael Craddock, of course, in the Siloam Springs. I know that for sure. There's my old spotter network right there. That's not on anymore. I'm definitely not in Bella Vista right now. Let's see here. Decatur about to get some very heavy rain and some hail. So you're right about that, Joel. We zoom in here. The Decatur area about to get hit by some hail. Let's look at the Decatur WeatherBug Network camera real quick. So yeah, the rain's coming down. I wish I could hear like the audio of it too. Like I just love hearing rain and hearing it ramp up and then hearing the little pitter patter of hail. That's what's going on in Decatur. Let's see if that hail core is going to hit Decatur. I think that hail core is actually falling apart right now. So if you live in Decatur, you might get some small hail, but let's go back here to Mega Doppler. I think this hail core is kind of done, at least for the time being. Notice how it's much smaller. Now, this right here is starting to become significant, folks. We have to keep an eye on this hail core. This is getting pretty big. Radar estimate 2.31 inch hail just off to the south and east of Siloam Springs, right along Highway 412. Let's look at the Siloam Springs camera real quick here. Let's see what's going on. I wonder if it is hailing at the Siloam Springs camera. It's hard to tell, though, because it's so blurry. But it might be hailing over Allen Elementary. Because you see that kind of white tint right there. That usually indicates that we've got hail that's starting to fall overhead. So, yeah, the hail in Siloam Springs is crazy. So, yeah, folks, thanks for the reports in Siloam Springs. It looks like the hail is getting bigger. If we go back to Mega Doppler here, and we got an adjustment to the camera here so we can see a little bit better, but that hail is getting big. Okay, we had dime-sized hail in Siloam for a few minutes. So downtown Siloam Springs probably missed the biggest hail. But, yeah, look at this. Okay, Dan's actually pointing it right to where the hail core is. That is the hail core right there. So that's what I'm talking about. Notice that kind of whitish hue off the distance. Sometimes it can appear as like a teal color if it's really big, right? But look at that elementary camera right there, folks. That is some big hail that's starting to fall right along Highway 412. Now moving right over the Martin area. So I'm going to briefly move it off this camera real quick. Oh, yeah. So hold on one second, folks. I'll be right back. Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, I only had it scheduled until 15. But that's why. We're having severe storms that are now impacting. And they're not like. Probably just take a few moments. I can keep talking. Okay. I'll do that. And that'll be great. I'll watch how you do it. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that sounds perfect. Yeah. Just kind of put it back on 479 first. Okay, sweet. That sounds perfect. All right. Yeah, that's a pretty big hail that's going on right now. So, folks, if you live right along Highway 412, Martin right now is getting hit by some very large hail. And there's the hail core off in the distance there. I'm going to move this to Mega Doppler real quick. So there's the hail core right there, and radar estimates are at 2.45 inches. So it's getting probably quite large. Sometimes this has a tendency to overdo things, but it gives you an idea that this hail is starting to intensify. Mother Nature is so entertaining and interesting. The weather has always intrigued me. Wish I would have gotten more into it as a kid. Well, that's why we love having these weather live streams, Braden, because we can always talk more about it, talk more about education. iDrive for Siloam. Let me look at that real quick. I actually do need to check that out to make sure we don't have like an iDrive look at this hail core, because that hail is really big. Unfortunately, we don't have a WeatherBug Network camera that's near where the hail core is, but we might be able to get an iDrive look. So stand by real quick, folks. Oh, yeah, we're going to get an iDrive look for sure. Let me pull that up here and make sure we've got that on the side. And stand by. I'm going back and forth here, just trying to make sure we're getting to everybody and getting to all the information while also multitasking. So just bear with me. I'm a little bit slower than I usually am. So let's look at this iDrive Arkansas camera that is near the Illinois River, because that hail core should be moving right over the Illinois River very soon. I'm going to go ahead and just pull out my mic stuff just in case. Okay, this hail core is definitely going to move over this camera. So stand by for 1 second. For some reason, Dan, if you're still on this, we don't have a banner for the Illinois River camera on iDrive Arkansas. So if you're still on this, just a heads up, or if Denton, if you're on this, just a heads up. But here's the iDrive Arkansas look over the Illinois River right now. And I think it's about to start hailing over this camera, because we look here, and it may not be the biggest hail, the main center of the hail core may not move in, but definitely something we're going to have to watch very closely here. So I'm going to go back and forth here. Here's a look at Mega Doppler right now. And there's the hail core moving right over Martin, right along Highway 412. And this camera is located along Highway 412 as well. So let's see. Let's go back to Max 1. It's pretty big, Michelle. It's pretty big hail. I wouldn't be surprised if this severe thunderstorm warning got upgraded to a considerable tag very soon. So now we've got ping pong sized hail. So this severe thunderstorm is really starting to take off at this time. Now, the other storm that's moving into northern Benton County, so if you live in Decatur or in Bentonville, you're not getting impacted by major hail. You might get smaller hail in those locations, but it's not going to be as big as what's moving east right now towards Tontitown, because that is a big time hail core right now. I'm going to keep an eye on that camera. If it starts hailing on this camera, we're going to go back to it. But that's not what I want. Let's go back here. I'm going back and forth, folks. So Kate, I just mentioned Bentonville. It's going to be small, if anything. Small, if anything. Nothing crazy in Bentonville. Lowell, keep an eye on it, just in case, right? But the immediate locations that need to keep an eye on this hail core are Pedro, Robinson, and the Tontitown area, as well as Elm Springs. And I was hearing some reports that XNA was also getting impacted by a little bit of hail as well. But this storm is really starting to take off. So looks like there was a report of quarter-sized hail in Siloam Springs. We also have a 0.75-inch dime-sized hail in Siloam Springs as well, just off to the east of Siloam Springs. So again, sometimes the radar can overestimate things. Okay, Dan, thank you so much for doing that. Really, I really appreciate that, because like I said, I'm trying to focus on the severe weather coverage. It's hard to do that when you got storms that are ongoing right now. So I appreciate you doing that. I know you probably heard that conversation in the background. Because I only expected to be on for an hour, but these storms have taken off quite a bit, so we have to cover them. Let's go back here to Max 1. I want to go to our INX sweep, and I want to get another storm track on this. Okay, so because we've got this storm that's starting to take off right now, and I want to make sure people are aware of where this hail core is heading. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off our warnings here, our label, and we're going to move this storm to the east. It looks like it's still moving east at about 40 miles per hour, give or take. and we're going to take the most dangerous part of the storm. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to get hyper-focused on where the immediate impacts are going to be felt by this hail core if it holds together. So it's right now just north of Pedro, the biggest hail. I'm going to move that to the east right now. So these are the immediate areas that are in the path of this hail core. So Logan at 10:25 a.m., the power plant at 10:33. I was mentioning Tontitown, 10:38 a.m. So within the next 10 to 15 minutes, we could start seeing some large hail in the Tontitown area. This is a big-time hail core. It may go just north of Tontitown with the largest hail, but still, keep a close eye on it if you live there. Brush Creek Golf Course at about 10:40 a.m. I know some folks maybe had some golf games planned this morning. Just be aware if you're around that area. Walker Elementary School at 10:43. Springdale at 10:46. Springdale Municipal Airport at 10:47. And then Old Wire Road Elementary School at 10:50 a.m. Those are the locations that are in the immediate path of the storm. Again, this is not a storm that is producing tornado potential. It's producing very large hail right now, which can cause damage. We got to keep an eye on it. But right now, no tornado potential with this storm. But I wanted to make sure we had that storm track there so you folks could see which locations are in the immediate path right now. All right, I'm going to pull up Max 2 here just to make sure we've got our severe weather set up on there, just in case. Because if this storm turns destructive, right, or if it starts getting even bigger hail, then we're going to go on air and we're going to cover this because it's going to cause damage. So Debbie's saying that they're starting to get some small hail in the Tontitown area, which makes sense. That lines up with what we're seeing on radar right now as that hail shaft continues to push out to the east. Let's see here. Just want to make sure we've got everything pulled up. Okay, we're good. Move that. All right. Let's go back to our iDrive Arkansas camera near the Illinois River, because this is right along the hail core, and I'm not seeing anything right now. Of course, it's hard to tell visually. Sometimes these cameras don't pick up on the hail very well, but looks like there definitely has been some heavy rain. That is for sure. No doubt about that. I'm not seeing any hail along the Illinois River camera right now, which tells me that maybe that hail shaft has moved a little bit farther to the north, and that is indeed the case. If we look at Mega Doppler here, now this is not going to be perfect, but it's going to give you a general idea of where that hail core could be. And you can see right now near Logan that we've got 2.75 inch hail, at least according to radar estimates, but that's not going to be perfect. So just keep those reports rolling in, folks. Keep those reports rolling in. Is it safe to be outside in Lowell? No, I would get inside right now, Blake, because check this out. If I go back to radar here, check it out. We've got lightning that's striking just off to the north of Lowell already. So you should stay inside, wait till the storm passes before getting back out. But just keep an eye on it. Hail is starting to fall in Cave Springs. All right. Thank you so much for the report on that front. Okay. New severe thunderstorm warning, and this is now considerable. So this is about what I expected to happen. So golf ball sized hail now being reported with this storm. We're going to go back here to Max 1, and we're going to go and look at that new severe thunderstorm warning. So give it just a few moments to load here. And there it is. There's a new severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect. So this includes Benton and Washington counties, hail size 1.75 inches, which is equivalent to golf ball sized hail. And that storm is still moving off, looks like to the east at 30 miles per hour. So it has slowed down just a little bit. You can see the locations that are included in that severe thunderstorm warning. That's areas like Springdale, Tontitown, Elm Springs, Lowell, Robinson as well. Though I think if you live in Robinson, that hail core is just off to your north. But this is an extension of the original severe thunderstorm warning with now a considerable tag attached to it. So if you live in those areas, make sure you're taking shelter right now because this could produce some large hail. Again, no tornado potential. There's no tornado possible tag. There's no rotation whatsoever. This is an elevated thunderstorm, but it is producing large hail. I do want to take a look at that Springdale Children's camera. There's the storm off in the distance, and there's the hail core right there, folks. That is a perfect look at it. Look on the bottom left corner of your screen right there. That is where I believe the hail core is right now. You can see that kind of like whitish tint that typically indicates that a hail core is located in that area. Now, there's nothing visually on this storm that tells me it's rotating, right? We don't have to worry about that. But there is a definitive hail core there, and that is going to cause some problems if you're traveling along the roadways right now. Whew, that hail looks like it's getting bigger too, folks. This is a great look at what's going on right now outside. And that base, oh, look at that lightning strike. Man, that is an impressive storm right there. Very impressive severe thunderstorm. All right, just got my first weather call. So, Courtney, here we go. Weather call is starting to roll in, right? Because we've got some damaging storms that are starting to move through. That hail of that size can cause damage, especially golf ball sized hail. So, let's see here. Might be a good idea maybe to do a cut-in, honestly, with this cell that's moving through. So, stand by for just a few moments, folks. I'm going to see if there's anybody back here, and we might do a weather cut-in. Hey, Charles.
Hey.
You think there's any way we can do that cut in real quick? Cut it on there.
Cut it over president?
Yeah. Oh, wait. Or the president.
President.
Oh.
Walk out.
But we do have a storm that's causing some problems right now. Let's wait till the. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Don't want to cut in over that, obviously, because people might get mad. But yeah, just let me know.
Okay. NBC.
I'm going to use mic 3.
Okay.
And I'll put in IFB 2B. Thank you, sir. All right, folks, sorry about that. You probably heard that conversation behind the scenes, but what we're looking at right now is we've got storms that are causing problems right now, and it's not causing problems at a great time because I know there's on NBC right now, there's that special event with the president and with Britain, the UK, but I also want to make sure people are aware of what's going on. So we're going to find a time to get on air and do a quick cut-in because this storm is really taking off right now. And I know some folks are wondering about what's going on in their area. So let's go back here to Mega Doppler. So there's high heat and cooling Mega Doppler. There's the current severe thunderstorm warning. Man, that is some big time hail that is moving through the north side of Elm Springs right now. Lowell, I think you might be in the path of this hail core. So if you live in Lowell, if you live in Elm Springs, I would go ahead and get inside. Don't be outside in this storm, especially with that lightning that's going on right now. That can also cause issues. But we do have a severe thunderstorm warning with a considerable tag attached to it. Again, folks, no tornado potential. If you are just now tuning in, there is no tornado potential whatsoever with this storm. Don't have to worry about that at all. We're not concerned about that. But that hail core is very impressive, and that's why we're on right now, keeping a close eye on it. Now, if this storm were to turn destructive, which I don't think it will, but if it were, we would go wall to wall. But we're just trying to find a time to maybe get on air and cut in just a little bit in order to give folks an update on what's going on. So what if you're stuck in your vehicle? Blake, stay in your vehicle. Stay in your vehicle and do not go under bridges and overpasses. I know that's very tempting to do that, but if you put your car in the middle of a bridge or overpass, folks are going to be behind you, and they could start getting into accidents because they can't see in time because of how strong the winds are or how hard the rain or hail is falling. So if you want to stop, get to the side of the road, get to a safe place on the side of the road, go to a business, just stop somewhere that's not in the middle of the road and not under a bridge or overpass. That's the absolute worst spot that you can be in. All right, getting some reports of hail in Prairie Grove. Check the rotational radar. It's got a little bit of a lowering. So let's go back here. There it is right there. Definitely starting to see maybe a little bit of rotation. I think you could see that too over the Springdale camera as well. The lowering. There's the lowering. Bottom left corner of your screen right there, as Dan was just mentioning, there is a little bit of a lowering there. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I've got everything on here, everything ready, just in case. We've got our director behind the scenes right now. I know this is kind of the worst time for this to be happening, especially with what's going on in NBC, but we're going to try to find a time to maybe cut in just a minute here and give people an update on the storm. So let's see here. So bear with me, folks. We're going back and forth. This is our Springdale, Arkansas Children's Northwest WeatherBug Network camera. Again, nothing going on in Springdale right now, but I would keep a close eye on this storm if you do live in the Springdale area, as that could maybe wobble a little bit farther south and east. I still think that the main hail core is going to be just off to the north of Springdale. There's no tornado right now, guys. This is a severe thunderstorm warning with a considerable tag attached to it. But there is maybe a little weak area of rotation that's trying to pop up there just off to the north and west of Tawnytown. Very weak. We'll go back here. We'll take a look at it. Thank you, Charles. Appreciate that. So there it is right there. Again, there's the storm. It probably is a cell interaction right now that's going on. But it's going to struggle to tighten up, in my opinion, because of where it is currently positioned and the environment that's in place. But this tells you that we got a lot of upper level support, though. So just keep a close eye on this storm. We're watching it very closely. The main threat right now is the hail, which is still ongoing right now near the Elm Springs area. So we're going to keep a close eye on that there. I'm going to go back to Mega Doppler here. Just getting maybe a little cut in, ready to go. So folks can have a heads up on TV. We're going to do another storm track here. So I'm going to go back. You're going to be seeing what's going on in real time behind the scenes here. So just creating a brief little show. This storm is moving off to the east at 30 miles per hour. So we're going to take that. This is the most damaging storm right now. This is the most concerning storm. If you live in Bentonville, you're fine. If you live in Fayetteville, you're fine right now. It might get loud. There might be some storms, but it's not anything significant at this time. Okay. And then we're going to put that. Can you hear me? Okay. So what are we thinking? Okay, whenever I'm ready. Okay. Give me 1 more minute here, and when I get on the wall, I'll be ready. Thank you, sir. All right. So we do have an opportunity to get on. So I'm going to get on in just a minute here, folks. Madison County currently not under severe thunderstorm warning, but if you live towards the Clifty area, Jasmine, keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. And let's get the Siloam Springs camera pulled up here. Not Siloam Springs, Springdale Harbor camera. I'll make sure we got that up. Here's a look again at the Springdale Harbor camera. Or excuse me, Springdale, Arkansas Children's Northwest. I'm about to do a cut-in.
Yeah, we need to.
Yep. They just now got done with the Trump thing, so. Okay, perfect. All right. Charles, I'm ready. This storm is ramping up.
I'll get ready too.
Okay. All right, we're ready. Uh-huh. Do you mind helping with the radar?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Meteorologist Josh Schroeder here in studio this morning. We got meteorologist Dan Scoff behind the scene as well. He's going to be controlling the radar, but we do have a severe thunderstorm warning with a considerable tag attached to it. This includes Benton and Washington counties. This goes until 11:15 a.m. We've been watching the storm very closely on our weather live stream on 479 First, as well as on Facebook and X. This storm is really starting to take off, especially when it comes to that large hail potential, producing golf ball-sized hail just off to the north of the Springdale area, north of Highway 412. And if we take this storm and put it into motion here real quick, you can see that it's moving off to the east right now. This is a look at our latest storm track. So if you live in Elm Springs, 10:41 a.m., we're going to keep a close eye on that. Lull at 10:54 a.m., Cross Hollow at 10:57. Dan, looks like you're moving that camera just real quick here. Let's just make sure we got that storm track back up there. Clear Point at 11:08. War Eagle Mill at 11:15. Pine Top at 11:24. And Clifty at 11:32. So it looks like Dan just adjusted that. So you can see the hail core right there, just off to the west of the Elm Springs area, north of Highway 412. I know we got a lot of viewers that are watching in Lowell right now. I would keep an eye on this storm. I think this is going to be tracking towards the Lowell area very soon. So here's a look at Hyle Heating Cooling Mega Doppler. You can see that storm right there starting to take that classic supercell look. A tremendous amount of lightning associated with the storm. I do believe the main hail core is going to be located right here, just off to the north of Elm Springs. There's the main hail core shaft right there. According to radar estimates, it's showing about 2.31-inch hail, which would be just above hen egg size. So again, if you live south of Cave Springs, north of Elm Springs, and south and west of Lowell, make sure you're staying weather aware on this storm as it continues to track off to the east at about 30 miles per hour. I do want to take one look at our Springdale, Arkansas Children's Northwest Weatherbug Network camera. That right there looks to be a potential lowering going on. Might be a little tail cloud as well, just on the eastern side of the storm. This is actually a perfect camera view because you can see the hail shaft right there, and then maybe a potential area of interest as well. I'm going to go back here to Hyle Heating Cooling Mega Doppler just real quick. And Dan, can we look at storm relative velocity just real quick on the storm and make sure we don't have any other areas of interest here? Because we were watching that very closely. Again, it's very broad, but you can see it's ramping up right there, just off to the north of Tawnytown and Elm Springs. And that matches up with what we just saw visually. Again, just very weak rotation right now. These storms are well north of a warm front, so they're going to have a tendency to produce more large hail, maybe some damaging wind potential, but it could be a struggle for that tornado threat to be realized, which we hope continues. But it looks like that hail core might be dropping off just a little bit there, north and west of Elm Springs. We'll keep a close eye on that. Again, one last look here at our Arkansas Children's Northwest Weatherbug Network camera. Again, you can see that well-defined, kind of lowering right there off in the distance, hail core as well, just on the right side of your screen as well. So again, if you live in Highway 412, if you live near Elm Springs, Lowell, Springdale area, make sure you're staying weather aware. Stay indoors. Do not park your car under bridges and overpasses if you encounter hail. We'll continue our coverage on 479 First, as well as Facebook and X. Make sure you download our Free Weather Authority app as well for all the latest details. If we do have life-threatening storms, we will come back on air and we'll do our wall-to-wall coverage. But for now, stay safe and have a great rest of your Tuesday, everybody.
Trying to launch the.
Oh, no, you're good.
Yeah,
I
I'm
see.
trying to launch the weather producer. I had to refresh it. So
Yes, perfect.
okay, Josh, great job, man. You got to see this camera.
Yeah.
I mean that's a supercell, and it's got definitely a precipitation freebase. However, that the rotation is not prompting tornadic activity at the time. In fact, you can see up here at the top of this storm what we kind of call a collar cloud. That right there is an elevated collar cloud. And that shows you that, yes, you do have a lowering here, shows an intense updraft, probably going to be a strengthening hail core. This is what we call an inflow tail. However, you'll notice these clouds are not moving in a circular motion. Now, there is a little bit of weak rotation, as you mentioned, but there's going to be a lot of lightning. This is going to be a very active storm. So where's the box for the microphones at?
Oh, hold on one second. It's back in the
boxes
computer room. The computer room. The computer room.
Where all the boxes are?
Yeah,
Okay.
where all the boxes are.
Hold on just a sec. Let's just adjust this real quick. Take it up.
All right, so Dan's going to grab another microphone. Davion and Leslie are here right now as well. So got the full team here. So now I can kind of use more resources. So we've got some more folks that are just now chiming in. Again, folks, there's no areas that are concerning in terms of tornadic potential right now. There's nothing you have to worry about on that front. I know you're saying in Anderson, Missouri, the clouds look sketchy. They do look sketchy. It's what we call scary looking clouds for a reason. They're not actually going to prompt tornado potential. And that's because we are well north of the warm front. Now, there are some cell interactions that can lead to maybe the appearance of some stronger storms, or the cell interactions can lead to larger hail. But because it's so far north of the warm front right now, we're just not expecting any tornado potential with this cell that's going on in northwest Arkansas. I'm also keeping an eye on those storms that are just off to the south and west of the river valley right now. I'm going to go back here to Mega Doppler. So here's a look at what's going on in the river valley. These storms look like they're kind of weakening just a little bit. So not expecting those to be severe, at least over the next few moments. So the most concerning storm remains in place over Benton County right now near the Lowell area.
Just got this picture of hail, which is pretty sizable.
Looks like near Cave Springs.
Pretty large hail core, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so it looks like, Dan, it might be trying to ramp back up again, basically. Like it dumped its hail core, the very large hail. It looks like it might be a little bit lower, or at least smaller, according to radar, but that could ramp back up very quickly. My goodness, this Springdale camera is amazing.
Wow, look at that. That is incredible.
Yes.
Storm's coming right at us. Look at, you can see the forward flank of the storm and that inflow tail developing. Now, I've seen this before on tornadic supercells, and when it really ramps up, you know, the circulation, that's a sign of a tornado, but this is all outflow, and those clouds are developing along the outflow of the forward flank. So some cool meteorology happening. At the same time, really large hail that's falling, which we already had over, I would say, just about golf ball size, maybe even larger.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge hail core, too. I mean, that is a massive hail core. Even if you're outside of the largest hail, you're probably still getting at least dime or nickel-sized hail around it. So it looks like Lowell might get the larger hail right now just based on where it's currently located.
Absolutely. So we can bring up some other weather cameras. Let me go ahead and I'm going to put on a tie here real quick.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, everybody's coming in right now. Davion and Leslie.
Yeah, I got some friends over in the Rogers area saying the power's surging and flickering on and off.
Mm-hmm.
We had a power surge here too.
Yep. Which makes sense, right? These are some strong storms.
New considerable severe thunderstorm warning.
I know some folks were asking, hey, can I get outside and can I go to work right now in Lowell?
There's your answer.
There's your answer. A loud resounding no. Okay, Tom Duncan just said baseball-sized hail in Cave Springs. Now, that would have happened a few moments ago, right, because the hail core's already moved through Cave Springs. But let's see if that lines up on radar. Maybe on the south side of Cave Springs for sure. Now, remember, too, when you're looking at this product, right, it's a little bit delayed. It's kind of like correlation coefficient. You don't get a correlation coefficient drop until the tornado's on the ground. It's the same thing with the hail. You're not going to get an estimate of it until it actually moves through. Wow. It's talking to us right now. Look at that white tint, though, in the background there. That's the hail core moving right there. And I think that major hail is going to move just north of this camera, just north of Springdale here. Looking at it right now.
Heights. Keep looking at that circulation.
Yep.
It's been broad. It might tighten. I don't think it does because we're way north of the warm front. But that shows you a testament as to the upper level shear. And if we had the low level instability and the low level shear, we'd be in trouble.
Hey, Josh,
Absolutely.
this is Denton.
Yeah,
hey, what's up,
what's
Denton?
going on? Oh,
Hey, so-
bring him live. There you go.
Yes. What's going on, Denton? Where are you?
Okay, so right now we're on 412, where the old Kmart is. If you can see, we do have a little bit of rising motion into the base of this storm right now. So as it comes across the 412 area here, you can see basically what you're seeing on that inflow tail, what you're seeing on your weather camera. Absolutely a great shot. There's a lowering here, but there is a little bit of motion right here that we're watching and just keeping a track on here as this comes in. We did have a lot of inflow into the storm. It has now switched to outflow. I don't know if you can see that flag in the background there, but it is as this storm cell comes over, it's now outflow dominant here.
Are you seeing any type of circulations underneath the storm? I know you mentioned outflow, but you're not seeing any clouds kind of spinning, obviously.
No circulation. I think that this storm's probably cycling right now because there is a lot of upward motion in this more southern area right now. Whereas this to my right here, this would have been your original lowering that you were watching on the camera. I think that's handing off a little bit, and you can see just there's a lot of motion right there as this storm comes over.
All right. Well, we appreciate it so much for that report. Again, that's Denton Sachs, next door neighbor, friend, and also weather extraordinaire, and also kind of our background producer for all of the weather information. So we appreciate it with the live report. We're going to bring up Mega Doppler here. We're going to keep your live stream on for a second. You can let us know what kind of winds you're going to be seeing as well. But here's a look at Heil Heating Cooling Mega Doppler. And by the way, we talked about how there's no tornado potential over northwest Arkansas because we are north of the warm front. However, guess what? Tornado watch has been issued for the River Valley going until 7 o'clock. Storms are beginning to move into that tornado watch area. And as we know, the energy is here. The atmosphere is ripe. And I think things are going to be a lot more active, as they already have been, compared to yesterday. And more storms are on the way.
Yep. That's what happens when you have the upper level support overhead. And we're right smack dab in the middle of it this time.
Big time upper level support. One more look here from Denton. We'll do another live report. So there's Denton's camera right there. Denton, go ahead for those that are watching. Where are you at again? For people that are just joining the stream, probably in Lowell going, oh my gosh, what's going on here?
Yeah, so right now we're near where the old Kmart building was in 412, just north of the 412 intersection there and Gutenson. So we are, this lot here has really defined well over the past few minutes here, and I'm going to have to transition inside here because it's precip is now here. But this lowering here that was just to my north, which was the original lowering of the storm, has really gotten its act together over the past few minutes. There's a really crisp base on it now. So definitely bears watching, Dan, as it continues to move to the north and a little bit to the northeast. But the winds probably about 30 to 40. We did have some incredible CG earlier, though. So the storm's very electric, and you definitely want to be hunkering down if it's coming to you.
All right, thank you so much. Denton Sachs live reporting with that storm, very close to the Springdale area, and now we've got it moving right over Lowell. So we're going to do some radar data. We're going to do some storm tracks. Josh, you've got